Good evening and welcome to Dhammasukha Meditation Center in Annapolis, Missouri. This evening, Venerable Vimalaramsi will give the Dhamma talk. It will be on Majjhima Nikaya number 95, Canki Sutta, with Canki. And today is February the 12th, 2011.
Thus have I heard on one occasion the Blessed One was wandering in the Kosalan country with a large sangha of monks. He didn't travel anywhere without 500 monks around him. And eventually he arrived at the Kosalan Brahmin village named Upasada. There the Blessed One stayed in the God's Grove, the Sala Tree Grove, to the north of Upasada. Now on that occasion the Brahmin Canki was ruling over Upasada, a crown property, abounding in living beings, rich in grassland, woodlands, waterways, grain, and a royal endowment with a sacred grant given to him by King Pasenadi of Kosala. The Brahmin householders of Upasada heard the recluse Gotama, 91. The son of the Sakyans, who went forth from the Sakyan clan, has been wandering through the country of Kosala with a large sangha of monks, with 500 monks. Now a good report of Master Gotama has been spread to this effect. The Blessed One is accomplished, fully awakened, perfect in true knowledge and conduct, sublime knower of worlds, incomparable leader of persons to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, awakened and blessed. He declares this world with its gods, its maras, and its brahmas, this generation with the recluses and brahmins, with its princes and its people, which he has himself realized with direct knowledge. He teaches the Dhamma that is good in the beginning, good in the middle, and good in the end, with the right meaning and phrasing. He reveals a holy life that is utterly perfect and pure. Now it is good to see such arahats. Then the Brahmin householders of Upasada set forth from Upasada in groups and bands and headed northwards to the God's Grove, the Sala Tree Grove. Now on that occasion the Brahmin Canki had retired to the upper story of the palace for his midday rest. Then he saw the Brahmin householders of Upasada setting forth from Upasada in groups and bands and heading northwards to the God's Grove, the Sala Tree Grove. Then when he saw them, he asked his minister, "Good minister, why are the Brahmin householders of Upasada setting forth from Upasada in groups and bands and heading northwards to the God's Grove, the Sala Tree Grove?" "Sir, there is the recluse Gotama, the son of the Sakyans, who went forth from the Sakyan clan, who has been wandering in the Kosalan country. They are going to see the Master Gotama. Then, good minister, go to the Brahmin householders of Upasada and tell them, Sirs, the Brahmin Canki says this. Please wait, sirs. The Brahmin Canki will also go to see the recluse Master Gotama." Yes, sir, the minister replied, and he went to the Brahmin householders of Uposatha and gave them the message. Now on that occasion there were 500 Brahmins from various states were staying at Uposatha for some reason or other. They heard the Brahmin Canki, it is said, is going to see the recluse Gotama. Then they went to the Brahmin Canki and asked him, Sir, is it true that you're going to see the recluse Gotama? So it is, sirs, I'm going to see the recluse Gotama. Sirs, do not go to see the recluse Gotama. It is not proper for Master Canki to go see the recluse Gotama. Rather, it is proper for the recluse Gotama to come see you. For you, sir, are well born on both sides, of pure maternal and paternal descent, 7th generation back. In India, the Brahmin class they were caste was really quite prideful, and they were the only ones that could read. So the more pure your parentage is, the higher kind of Brahmin you are. Unassailable and impeccable in respect of birth. Since that is so, Master Canki, it is not proper for you to go see the recluse Gotama. Rather, it is proper for the recluse Gotama to come see you. You, sir, are rich with great wealth and great possessions. You, sir, are master of the 3 Vedas with their vocabularies, liturgy, phonology, etymology, and the histories as the 5th. Skilled in philology and grammar. You are fully versed in natural philosophy and in the marks of a great man. You, sir, are handsome, comely, and graceful, possessing supreme beauty of complexion, with the sublime beauty and sublime presence, remarkable to behold. You, sir, are virtuous, mature in virtue, possessing mature virtue. You, sir, are a good speaker with a good delivery. You speak words that are courteous, distinct, flawless, and communicate the meaning. You, sir, teach the teachers of many, and you teach the recitation of the hymns to 300 Brahmin students. You, sir, are honored, respected, revered, venerated, and esteemed by King Pasenadi of Kosala. You, sir, are honored, respected, revered, venerated, and esteemed by the Brahmin Pokarasati. You, sir, rule over Uposatha, a crown property abounding in living beings, a sacred grant given to you by King Pasenadi of Kosala. Since this is so, Master Canki, it is not proper for you to go see the recluse Gotama. Rather, it is proper for the recluse Gotama to come see you. When this was said, the Brahmin Canki told those Brahmins, Now, sirs, hear from me why it is proper for me to go see Master Gotama, and why it is not proper for Master Gotama to come see me. Sirs, the recluse Gotama is well born on both sides. He was in warrior class. Now, in a lot of ways, the warrior class and the Brahmin class, they were the top of the rung. The warrior class was generally the rulers of lands, because they were fighters. And sometimes the Brahmins would come in and try to take it from them. But the Brahmins were generally the more educated, so they had a gentle rivalry going all of the time. Sirs, the recluse Gautama is well born on both sides, of pure maternal and paternal descent 7 generations back, unassailable and impeccable in respect to birth. Since this is so, sirs, it is not proper for Master Gautama to come see me, rather it is proper for me to go see Master Gautama. Sirs, the recluse Gautama went forth, abandoning much gold and bullion stored away in vaults and in lofts. Sirs, the recluse Gautama went forth from the home life into homelessness while still young, a black-haired young man endowed with the blessings of youth. What the ascetics generally did was they would get married and they would have kids and they would raise the kids, and then when they got to be about 60 years old, they turned over everything and became ascetics. So to have somebody that was still very young become an ascetic, it was highly unusual. Sirs, the recluse Gautama shaved off his hair and beard and put on the yellow robe and went forth from the home life into homelessness, though his mother and father wished otherwise and wept with tearful faces. Sirs, the recluse Gautama is handsome, comely, graceful, possessing supreme beauty of complexion, with sublime beauty and sublime presence, remarkable to behold. Sirs, the recluse Gautama is virtuous, with noble virtue, with wholesome virtue, possessing wholesome virtue. Sirs, the recluse Gautama is a good speaker with a good delivery. He speaks words that are courteous, distinct, flawless, and communicate the meaning. Sirs, the recluse Gautama is a teacher of the teachers of many. Sir, the recluse Gautama is free from sensual lust and without personal vanity. Sirs, the recluse Gautama holds the doctrine of moral efficacy of action, the doctrine of moral efficacy of deeds. He does not seek any harm for the line of Brahmins. Sirs, the recluse Gautama went forth from an aristocratic family, from one of the original noble families. Sir, the recluse Gautama went forth from a rich family, from a family of great wealth and great possessions. Sirs, people come from remote kingdoms and remote districts to question the recluse Gautama. Sirs, many thousands of deities have gone for refuge for life to the recluse Gautama. Sirs, a good report of the recluse Gautama has been spread to this effect, that the Blessed One is accomplished, fully awakened, perfect in true knowledge and conduct, sublime knower of worlds, incomparable leader of persons to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, awakened and blessed. Sirs, the recluse Gautama possesses the 32 marks of a great man. Sirs, King Sayana Bimbisara of Magadha and his wife and children have gone for refuge for life to the recluse Gautama. Sir, King Pasenadi of Kosala and his wife and children have gone for refuge for life to the recluse Gautama. Sirs, the Brahmin Pokarasati and his wife and children have gone for refuge for life to the recluse Gotama. Sirs, the recluse Gotama has arrived in Uposatha and is living at the Uposatha in the God's Grove, the Salatree Grove, to the north of Uposatha. Now, any recluses or Brahmins that come to our town are our guests, and guests should be honored, respected, revered, and venerated by us. Since the recluse Gotama has arrived at Uposatha, he is our guest, and as our guest should be honored, respected, revered, and venerated by us. Since this is so, sirs, it is not proper for Master Gotama to come see me, rather it is proper for me to go see Master Gotama. Sirs, this much is the praise of Master Gotama that I have learned, but the praise of Master Gotama is not limited to that praise. His praise is immeasurable. Since Master Gotama possesses each one of these factors, it is not proper for him to come see me, rather it is proper for me to go see Master Gotama. Therefore, sirs, let all of us go see the recluse Gotama. Then the Brahmin Canki, together with a large company of Brahmins, went to the Blessed One and exchanged greetings with him. When this courteous and amiable talk was finished, he sat down at one side. Now on that occasion the Blessed One was seated, finishing some amiable talk with some very senior Brahmins. At the time, sitting in the assembly was a Brahmin student, a young, shaven-haired 16-year-old. He was a master of the 3 Vedas with their vocabularies, liturgy, phonology, etymology, and histories as a 5th. Skilled in philology and grammar, he is fully versed in the natural philosophy and in the marks of a great man. While the very senior Brahmins were conversing with the Blessed One, he repeatedly broke in and interrupted in their talk. That's almost unheard of for some young man to be with all of these elder people. It's even among monks. A young monk only talks when they're talked to. Otherwise, they keep quiet. Then the Blessed One rebuked the Brahmin student thus: let not the venerable student break in and interrupt the talk of the very senior Brahmins while they are conversing. Let the venerable student wait until the talk is finished. To memorize all 3 Vedas and only be 16 years old is a pretty amazing accomplishment. He had a really bright mind. When this was said, the Brahmin Canki said to the Blessed One, let not Master Gotama rebuke the Brahmin student. The Brahmin student is a clansman. He is very learned. He has good delivery. He is wise. He is capable of taking part in the discussion with Master Gotama. Then the Blessed One thought, surely, since the Brahmins honor him thus, the Brahmin student must be accomplished in the scriptures of the 3 Vedas. Then the Brahmin student thought, when the recluse Gotama catches my eye, I shall ask him a question. Then, knowing with his own mind the thought of the Brahmin student, the Blessed One turned his eye towards him. Then the Brahmin student thought, The recluse Gotama has turned towards me. Suppose I ask him a question. Then he said to the Blessed One, Master Gotama, in regard to the ancient Brahmatic hymns that have come down through oral tradition, preserved in the collections, the Brahmins come to the definite conclusion, only this is true and anything else is wrong. What does Master Gotama say about this? How then, student, among the Brahmins, is there even a single Brahmin who says, I know this, I see this, only this is true and anything else is wrong? No, Master Gotama. How then, student, among the Brahmins, is there even a single teacher or a single teacher's teacher, back to the 7th generations of teachers, who says thus, I know this, I see this, only this is true and anything else is wrong? No, Master Gotama. How then, student, the ancient Brahmin seers, the creators of the hymns, the composers of the hymns, whose ancient hymns that were formerly chanted, uttered, and compiled, the Brahmins nowadays still chant and repeat, repeating what was spoken, reciting what was recited. Did even these ancient Brahmin seers say thus, we know this, we see this, only this is true and anything else is wrong? No, Master Gotama. So, student, it seems that among the Brahmins there's not even a single Brahmin who says thus, I know this, I see this, only this is true and anything else is wrong. And among the Brahmins there's not even a single teacher or a single teacher's teacher, back to the 7th generation of teachers, who says thus, I know this, I see this, only this is true and anything else is wrong. And the ancient Brahmin seers, the creators of the hymns, the composer of the hymns, even these ancient Brahmin seers did not say thus, we know this, we see this, only this is true and anything else is wrong. Suppose there were a file of blind men, each in touch with the next. The first one does not see, the middle one does not see, and the last one does not see. So too, student, in regard to their statement, the Brahmins seem to be like a file of blind men. The first one does not see, the middle one does not see, and the last one does not see. What do you think, student? That being so, does not the faith of the Brahmins turn out to be groundless? You can pull this out for the Christians too. Because they say their way is the only way. You'll see in a moment. The Brahmins honor this not only out of faith, Master Gotama, but they also honor it as oral tradition. Student, first you took the stand on faith, now you speak of oral tradition. There are these 5 things, student, that may turn out in 2 different ways here and now. What 5? Faith, approval, oral tradition, reason, cogitation, and reflective acceptance of a view. These 5 things may turn out to be in 2 different ways here and now. Now, something may be fully accepted out of faith, yet it may be empty, hollow, and false. but something else may not be fully accepted out of faith, yet it may be factual, true, and unmistaken. Again, something may be approved of, yet it may be empty, hollow, and false. But something else may not be fully accepted and approved of, but it could be factual, true, and unmistaken. Something may be well transmitted, well cogitated, well reflected upon, yet it may be empty, hollow, and false. But something else may be well reflected upon, yet it may be factual, true, and unmistaken. Under these conditions, it is not proper for a wise man who preserves truth to come to the definite conclusion only this is true and anything else is wrong. But Master Gotama, in what way is there the preservation of truth? How does one preserve truth? We ask Master Gotama about the preservation of truth. If a person has faith, student, he preserves truth when he says, "My faith is thus." But he does not yet come to the definite conclusion, only this is true and anything else is wrong. In this way, student, there is the preservation of truth. In this way, he preserves truth. In this way, he can describe the preservation of truth. But as yet, there is no discovery of truth. If a person approves of something, if he receives an oral tradition, if he reaches a conclusion based on reason cogitation, if he gains a reflective acceptance of a view, he preserves truth when he says, "My reflective acceptance of the view is thus." But he does not come to the definite conclusion, only this is true and anything else is wrong. In this way, too, student, there is the preservation of truth. In this way, he preserves truth. In this way, we describe the preservation of truth, but as yet there is no discovery of truth. In that way, Master Gotama, there is the preservation of truth. In that way, one preserves truth. In that way, we recognize a preservation of truth. But in what way, Master Gotama, is there the discovery of truth? In what way does one discover truth? We ask Master Gotama about the discovery of truth. Here, student, a monk may be living in dependence on some village or town. Then a householder or a householder's son goes to him and investigates him in regards to three kinds of states. In regards to states based on greed, in regards to states based on hate, and in regard to states based on delusion. Are there in this Venerable One any states based on greed, such that if his mind is obsessed with those states, while not knowing he might say, "I know," or while not seeing he might say, "I see," or he might urge others to act in a way that would lead to their harm and suffering for a long time? As he investigates them, he comes to know there is no such states based on greed in this Venerable One. The bodily behavior and verbal behavior of this Venerable One are not those of one affected by greed. And the Dhamma that this Venerable One teaches is profound, hard to see and hard to understand, peaceful and sublime, unattainable by mere reasoning, subtle to be experienced by the wise. This Dhamma cannot easily be taught by one affected by greed. When he has investigated him and has seen that he is purified from states based on greed, he next investigates him in regard to states based on hate. Are there in this Venerable One any states based on hate such that, with his mind obsessed by those states, he might urge others to act in a way that would lead to their own harm, suffering for a long time? As he investigates him, he comes to know there's no such states based on hate in this Venerable One. The bodily behavior, the verbal behavior of this Venerable One are not those of one affected by hate. And the Dhamma this Venerable One teaches is profound to be experienced by the wise. This Dhamma cannot easily be taught by one affected by hate. When he has investigated him and has seen him that he is purified from states based on hate, he next investigates him in regards to states based on delusion. You remember what delusion is? Come on, you can do it. Taking things personally. Are there in this Venerable One any states based on delusion such that, with his mind obsessed by those states, he might urge others to act in a way that would lead to their harm and suffering for a long time? As he investigates him, he comes to know there are no such states based on delusion in this Venerable One. The bodily behavior and verbal behavior of this Venerable One are not those of one affected by delusion, and the Dhamma that this Venerable One teaches is profound, to be experienced by the wise. This Dhamma cannot easily be taught by one affected by delusion. When he has investigated him and has seen that he is purified from states based on delusion, then he places faith in him. Filled with faith, he visits him, pays respect to him. Having paid respect to him, he gives ear and listens closely. When he gives ear, he hears the Dhamma. Having heard the Dhamma, he memorizes and examines the meaning of the teachings as he has memorized. When he examines their meaning, he gains reflective acceptance of those teachings. When he has gained reflective acceptance of those teachings, enthusiasm springs up. When enthusiasm has sprung up, he applies his mindfulness. Having applied his mindfulness, he scrutinizes. Having scrutinized, he strives. Resolutely striving, he realizes with the body the supreme truth and sees it by penetrating it with wisdom, seeing dependent origination. In this way, student, there is the discovery of truth. In this way, one discovers truth. In this way, we describe the discovery of truth. But as yet, there's no final arrival at truth. In that way, Master Gotama, there is the discovery of truth. In that way one discovers truth. In that way we recognize the discovery of truth. But in what way, Master Gotama, is there the final arrival at truth? In what way does one finally arrive at truth? We ask Master Gotama about the final arrival at truth. The final arrival at truth, student, lies in the repetition, development, and cultivation of all the things mentioned. In this way, there is the final arrival at truth. In this way, one finally arrives at truth. In this way, we describe the final arrival at truth. In that way, Master Gotama, there is the final arrival at truth. In that way, one actually arrives at truth. Practicing practicing. Practicing the 6 R's. That will lead you all the way. Right? In that way we recognize the final arrival at truth. But what, Master Gotama, is most helpful for the final arrival at truth? We ask Master Gotama the thing most helpful for the final arrival at truth. Striving is most helpful for the final arrival at truth. If one does not strive, one will not finally arrive at truth. But because one strives, one does finally arrive at truth. That is why striving is most helpful for the final arrival at truth. But what, Master Gotama, is most helpful for striving? We ask Master Gotama about the thing most helpful for striving. Scrutiny is most helpful for striving. If one does not scrutinize, one will not strive. But because one scrutinizes, one strives. That is why scrutiny is most helpful for striving. Paying attention. But what, Master Gotama, is most helpful for scrutiny? We ask Master Gotama about the thing most helpful for scrutiny. Application of mindfulness is most helpful for scrutiny. If one does not apply one's mindfulness, one will not scrutinize. But because one applies one's mindfulness, one scrutinizes. That is why application of mindfulness is most helpful for scrutiny. But what, Master Gotama, is most helpful for the application of mindfulness? We ask Master Gotama about the thing most helpful for the application of mindfulness. Enthusiasm. Taking an interest is most helpful for the application of mindfulness. If one does not arouse enthusiasm, one will not apply their mindfulness. But because one arouses enthusiasm, one applies one's mindfulness. That is why enthusiasm is most helpful for the application of mindfulness. But Master Gotama, what, Master Gotama, is most helpful for enthusiasm? We ask Master Gotama about the thing most helpful for enthusiasm. A reflective acceptance of the teachings is most helpful for enthusiasm, student. if one does not gain a reflective acceptance of the teachings, enthusiasm will not spring up, but because one gains a reflective acceptance of the teaching, one's enthusiasm springs up. That is why reflective acceptance of the teaching is most helpful for enthusiasm. As you start seeing for yourself that this works, you start having more enthusiasm. And when you have more enthusiasm, you're looking more closely with your mindfulness, you're seeing things more clearly, you're able to stay with your object of meditation longer, and you're seeing the things that knock you off. You're seeing them more clearly, and you're not taking them personally. That's what it means by reflective acceptance. It means from direct experience. Reflect on your direct experience and see whether it works or not. But what Master Gotama is most helpful for reflective acceptance of the teachings? We ask Master Gotama about the thing most helpful for a reflective acceptance of the teachings. Examination of the meaning is most helpful for reflective acceptance of the teachings. Examination, see how it works. Don't believe what somebody else says. If one does not examine their meaning, one will not gain a reflective acceptance of the teachings. But because one examines their meaning, one gains a reflective acceptance of the teachings. That is why examination is the examination of the meaning is most helpful for reflective acceptance of the teaching. But Master Gotama, what is most helpful for examination of the meaning? We ask Master Gotama about the thing most helpful for examination of the meaning. Memorizing the teaching. It doesn't mean you have to memorize every sutta. It means that you have to be able to know what the hindrances are without trying to fumble around and figure out what they are, what the noble truths are, things like that. Memorizing the teaching is most helpful for examining the examining of meaning, student. If one does not memorize a teaching, one will not examine its meaning. But because one memorizes a teaching, one examines its meaning. But what Master Gotama is most helpful for memorizing the teaching? We ask Master Gotama about the thing most helpful for memorizing the teachings. Hearing the Dhamma is most helpful for memorizing the teachings. How many times do I repeat myself? So you can memorize it. If one does not hear the Dhamma, one will not memorize the teachings. Only makes sense. But because one hears the Dhamma, one memorizes the teachings. That is why hearing the Dhamma is most helpful for memorizing the teachings. But what Master Gotama is most helpful for hearing the Dhamma? We ask Master Gotama about the thing most helpful for hearing the Dhamma. Giving ear is most helpful for hearing the Dhamma, student. If one does not give ear, one will not hear the Dhamma. But because one gives ear, one hears the Dhamma. That means taking interest in what's being said without thinking, just listening. That is why giving ear is most helpful for hearing the Dhamma. But what Master Gotama is most helpful for giving ear? We ask Master Gotama about the thing most helpful for giving ear. Paying respect is most helpful for giving ear, student. If one does not pay respect, one will not give ear. So you have to respect what's being said. But because one pays respect, one gives ear. That is why paying respect is most helpful for giving ear. But what Master Gotama is most helpful for paying respect? We ask Master Gotama about the thing most helpful for paying respect. Visiting a teacher is most helpful for paying respect, student. If one does not visit a teacher, one will not pay respect to him. But because one visits a teacher, one pays respect to him. That is why visiting is the most helpful thing for paying respect. But what Master Gotama is most helpful for visiting? We ask Master Gotama about the thing most helpful for visiting. Faith is most helpful for visiting, student. If faith in a teacher does not arise, one will not visit him. But because of faith in a teacher, because faith in a teacher arises, one visits him. That is why faith is most helpful for visiting. We ask Master Gotama about the preservation of truth, and Master Gotama answered about the preservation of truth. We approve of and accept that answer, and so we are satisfied. We ask Master Gotama about the discovery of truth, and Master Gotama answered about the discovery of truth. We approve of and accept that answer, and so we are satisfied. We ask Master Gotama about the final arrival at truth, and Master Gotama answered about the final arrival at truth. We approve of and accept that answer, and so we are satisfied. We ask Master Gotama about the thing most helpful for the final arrival at truth. And Master Gotama answered about the thing most helpful for the final arrival at truth. We approve of and accept the answer, and so we are satisfied. Whatever we ask Master Gotama about, that he has answered us. We approve of and accept that answer, so we are satisfied. Formerly, Master Gotama, we used to think, who are these bald-pated recluses, these swarthy, menial offspring of the kinsman's feet? Feet in Asia is considered very dirty because you're walking around in dust all the time, and most of the time you just have sandals on, or you're walking barefoot. A lot of places, they put a big, it's a water container, so you can wash your feet before you walk into their house. So when you say swarthy, menial offspring of the kinsman feet, that's pretty big insult. That they would understand the Dhamma, but Master Gotama has indeed inspired in me love for recluses, confidence in recluses, reverence for recluses. Magnificent, Master Gotama, magnificent. From today, let Master Gotama remember me as a lay follower who has gone to him for refuge for life. That's a pretty major thing that the Buddha just did. They called a lot of the other sects that were teaching other things, they called him a master of magical conversion. And his magic was just telling them the truth. So, when you go home, please sit no less than 30 minutes. Morning is best. Your meditation is going to have some dips in it. There's going to be times when you have a very active day. You start to sit and your mind is going to be real active. Okay. So no problem. So continue on. You will start improving in your meditation, but you have to do it every day. And sitting in the morning is the best time, because you don't have to think about it in the evening then. If you want to sit in the evening and you have time, then you can. But I found through my own practice when I was a layman, the evening it was a hard time to sit, because some friend would call up and let's go out to dinner, and then I go, let's go to a movie, and you get home and you're too tired, you say, I'll do it tomorrow. So if you do it in the morning, you don't have that problem. Now I had some students in Malaysia that they were really serious about the practice, but they had kids and had a job. They had all of these things that they needed to be taken care of. So they wound up getting up 2 hours early so they could sit for 2 hours before they started their day. Now that's real dedication. And it's not an easy thing. But after he took a retreat with me, he would go back to work and everybody would see that he was a lot more calm and he was smiling more and he was kind of radiating a happy feeling, and he stopped complaining about things and he started going, "You're different. What did you do? I want some of that." So the more you can keep your practice going all day, that means smile. All day. You, especially. Yeah. You need more practice smiling. I used to give people a little pocket mirror, and I came to write smile on it. So every now and you can pull it out and see, you get to look at your face and see whether you're really smiling or not. There was this one lady that she came and she started practicing with me. She's incredibly beautiful. I mean, really, really beautiful. And she was a little bit on the vain side. And she told me that she got in a big argument with her boyfriend. And I said, "Did you pull out the mirror to see what your face looked like?" She said, "Oh no, I wouldn't do that." I said, "That's when you need to look at your face." And it was like I hit her with a wet towel. So it's real important to practice your smiling as much as you can. Smile into everything. Even when you don't feel like smiling, smile. It has good benefit, and you'll find that your mindfulness improves so much. I mean, it's kind of gimmicky sounding. Just smile all the time. But it helps improve your awareness of what your mind is doing in the present moment. And you get to see your attachments, and you get to see when you really start thinking a lot. And then, good to laugh. So, meditation is living your life. You get to carry it with you all the time. It's not just about sitting still like a Buddha image. It's about being mindful of what your mind is doing all the time. The more you have an uplifted mind, the easier it is to recognize when your mind gets pulled down. And the easier it is to let it go. You won't get caught for as long. There's some people that, in Asia in particular, they tell me, well, if I practice loving kindness all the time, people will take advantage of me. And my answer to that is, meditation does not make you stupid. You can stop people from taking advantage of you. And that it's like that, the old farmer, he went out and he bought a mule from his neighbor. He got the mule home and hooked him up, and he was going to put him to work, and the mule just didn't pay attention to him. So he went back to his neighbor. He said, I can't get this mule to do anything. And the neighbor says, I know what the problem is. I'll come over and fix it for you. So he comes over and he picks up a 2x4 and he hits that mule right straight between the eyes. And the farmer that just bought him said, you don't do that. And he said, well, the guy that owned him previously said, well, now he'll do anything you want. I got his attention for you. And sometimes loving kindness has to be like that. You've got to get their attention. That doesn't mean you have to do it with anger. So the whole point of the meditation is learning how to have an uplifted mind so that you can be happy all the time. It is possible, it is reasonable. Except with some animals. Anyway, do you have any questions?
You were saying keep smiling throughout the day, but you don't. And that's sort of independent of relax, like 6 hours.
You keep doing the 6 hours all day too, as much as you can remember. And there'll be times that you forget. Okay, then start over again. That's all. That doesn't work. You'll see. But the 6 hours are something that you carry around with you all the time. Just like the smile is. But the smile is part of the 6 hours, isn't it? Right. And laugh with it and don't get serious. Mm-mm. When you're serious, you're attached. When you're attached, you make yourself suffer. That's the way it works.
But aren't there times that you have to be serious?
Why?
Just to figure something, I mean, if you're trying to figure something out or work on something.
Well, but if the more fun you have while you're trying to figure something out, the easier it is to figure out. And smile while you're doing it. And like I said, you'll forget. But when you remember, start over again. That's all. Okay. May suffering ones be suffering free, and the fear-struck fearless be. May the grieving shed all grief, and may all beings find relief. May all beings share this merit that we've thus acquired for the acquisition of all kinds of happiness. May beings inhabiting space and earth, devas and nagas of mighty power, share this merit of ours. May they long protect the Buddhist dispensation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.